Murmuring is a sin. It's corruption, grumbling, complaining. Murmuring does not show evidence of a standing salvation. Steadfast salvation does not show the mind that is focused on getting to the promised land. Murmuring is a sin. Somebody can murmur, the voice loud. Somebody can murmur with a disgruntled attitude. Somebody can murmur with a psychological kind of complaint. Somebody can murmur by sending a chat, a text from an unknown number. It doesn't use its own number. It takes a number not identified with him or with her and sends a message of murmuring. The originator of that murmuring, the originator is a sinner, is a backslider. And those who will influence others to murmur, that originator who influences another one, I'll give you his number, I'll give you her number. Send this kind of message. Make it strong. Make it insulting. Make it abusive. And send it almost at midnight. Wake him up. That's a sinner. Murmuring, a sin. Murmurers are sinners. Well, how does that sound? Of the people that murmur and they leave the church, deeper life, and they go to another church. They started the murmuring, and instead of bringing the challenge, the problem to the leadership, they'll rather go to another church, gospel church, Orthodox church, Catholic church, whatever. They rather quit, go to another church. They don't really do that. They gather others among them. And they said, let us. They say, deeper life is not the only church. But you knew that before, and you came. When you were spoon-fed, when you were given charity, when you were given money, when the church pumped money into your business, you didn't remember that deeper life is not the only church. When the church supported your marriage, when the church paid for your house rent, when the church paid even for the marriage you conducted, when the church ran it round, you didn't say there are other churches when we allowed you to sing and have as many minutes as you wanted for singing. When we gave you chance to have concerts and we invited people from here and there, that time you didn't know there was another church. You stayed. I even had you praying, this is my church, I will die here. But because a little plate of food didn't get to you, and because as a widow you couldn't have this or that, murmuring, complaining, grumbling, and in your mind, let's go to another church. Well, the family should address whatever problem we have. You notice in this workers' global conference that in all our retreat conference locations, we are not having the choir singing. Why? Because they are so committed and so busy, you will not know. They practice in the night, they practice in the day, and the work is heavy on them. And so there is time. We decided, I told the leader, I said, this time I want all the workers to sit down and benefit. This time we don't want to get our name changed to busy Christian life ministry. We want to retain the deeper Christian life ministry. And so because of being busy and busy and busy, that the spiritual life is going down. If any of the members then of the choir here or there or anywhere will say, okay, I know how to play instrument, we taught you here. I know how to sing, all the voice training, we did that here. And because we're thinking of your getting to heaven, that you'll not be so busy and busy and busy that you do not have the chance of hearing the word. You'll bear me record when you have walked so much in the night and so much in the day. When the message is going on, your body is not stone. You will be feeling sleepy and you'll be fighting the sleep. But you'll not hear everything that is being said. That's why we said at this time, your father should know when you are, kind of agile and active and sinking in everything. And if your father said, give time to hearing the word and praying at this time, and now already you are murmuring in your heart, and you now say, let us choose us captain and go and introduce ourselves to another church leader and say, we're coming from deeper life. We spent enough time there. We're tired of the manner. Now we can play instruments, we can sing, we can help your choir. That means you go from murmuring to total, complete backsliding. But these people that said, we will choose us captain, that we may go back to Egypt. I will not go back to Egypt. Say that again. I remember seeing my own overseer. He had warned me. was a great man, gracious man. He called me, he held me and said, Kumuyi, this Bible study that you are leading and this that you are doing, we don't accept it. Something will happen. I said, what, sir? Said, don't argue. Somebody can write with hand and write with leg. He was referring to, at that time was a lecturer. Please, this is not acceptable. And you warned me what will happen. Eventually, I was in church. They mentioned my name. It was recorded. They sent it to all the churches that he is, their branch churches, that this man is no more a member. Even after they'd done that, I didn't go to another church. I kept on the Bible study. But the following Sunday, I took people to the church, that same church. I wasn't allowed to enter. They said I had gone. So I stayed outside the gate until the service finished. And when the people I took there, when they came, I picked them in the car and took them to their places. I did that for many Sundays. Another church called me and said, we hear this. I said, yes. He said, we are not like them. Come, join us. I said, no, I'm not joining you. Why? Oh, because my church was right. They said, if I'm going to be a member of the church, this is what I must do. And I said, I disobeyed. And as a result of my disobeying my leader, that's why they did what they did. I didn't join another church. Another church still called me and said, come here. We recognize God's grace and truth in you. And that overseer of another church actually said God told him to anoint me to be a minister. I said, God has not told me. I didn't go to that church. I stayed where I stayed. But I didn't go back to my church that excommunicated me, because the overseer told me I could come back. I said, sir, on what condition? Said, I'll stop the Bible study. I'll burn all the tracts we'd written. I said, how about the people I've gathered together? He said, leave that in their hand. I said, sir, I'm telling you what I said. I said, sir, that would be unreasonable for me to gather people together, give them the gospel, and they are saved, and they're sanctified, and because I want to be in the good book of a church, I come and I drop everything I'm called to do. I said, that will be unreasonable. I had the temptation too, I had the calling too, I had the pressure too, but I never murmured against that church. When a conference, World Pentecostal Conference, global, and I was invited to that World Pentecostal Global Conference, and some other leaders in Nigeria were also invited. And a great man from Nigeria, overseer from Nigeria, he saw me and called me and said, "Come, are you Kumuyi?" I said, "Yes, sir, by the grace of God." "Were you in," he mentioned the church. I said, "Yes, sir, that's where I was." "Did they drive you out?" I said, "Not really. But they said you shouldn't come to that church again." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Those people," he wanted to be saying negative things about them. I said, "Hold on, sir." I said, "That is where I learned everything I have learned. Salvation, sanctification, Holy Ghost baptism." I said, "They are not wrong. I was wrong." And they gave me chance to align with what the church stood for. And I didn't align. And the only thing they could do, consistent with their doctrine, consistent with their understanding, is to eject the one jigger in their toe, so that it will not contaminate all the others. I justified them everywhere. That my overseer is gone to glory. But one day I was reading the newspapers. That time I'd been sent out, excommunicated. And I saw something in the papers that mentioned their name. And I felt maybe my overseer would not have seen this. And during the office hours, I could go there during the office hours only on Sunday and conference and competing. I couldn't attend. I went to him. I took the paper along. I said, "Sir, I read this in the paper, and this will negatively affect the church. Please look at it and do something about it." I didn't, knock the church. I didn't murmur against the church. I wanted the best that I could still offer for them. My overseer looked at me and said, "Kumuyi, you love us, you love the church." I said, "Yes, I do, sir." And he said, "Why don't you come back?" I said, "Let's leave that alone, because I can't fulfill the condition of coming back." He said, he told me, "If you come back, you don't know what you can become here." I said, "Thank you, sir, but I'm not led that way. That deeper life has come. Deeper life has come to stay. But don't misunderstand me. I still took my stand. We're having meeting at Gbenga, a weekend meeting, and I heard that my church, former church, came to distribute the literature without my knowledge. So I made an announcement: if you got any gospel paper distributed to you that we have not distributed from the pulpit, raise them up. We gathered them together. I sent two of our leaders here in Lagos. I said, go, help me give them back to the overseer. When he saw me the following time, he said, Kumuyi. I said, sir, we distributed gospel literature in your deeper life, and you gathered everything and sent back to us. I said, sir, I sent them back because I respected you. If it were not your literature, I would have burnt them. But for the respect I had for you, that's why I sent them back. And I said, I sent them back because if you are having your meeting, I cannot send my people to go and distribute a deeper life literature. I said, what I want to do to you, I don't expect you to do it to me. I didn't murmur, I just took action. But I didn't set up, Captain, let's go back to where we're coming from. Let's go back to that other place. Murmuring will make you lose your focus and your sense of going on with the Lord. Murmuring will be cleared away from our church in Jesus' name.